South Koreans have a tendency to be more generous when it comes to consuming alcohol, especially after work or along with lunch and over the weekend. And it's widely believed a glass of wine, beer, or soju on the dinner table does no harm. But does it really? According to a recent study, it doesn't. For more, let's turn to Dr. Elise Chan from MizMedi Women's Hospital. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Like I said, according to a recent data released by Korea's National Cancer Center, even a small amount of beer can cause cancer. I mean, how can beer lead to such a serious illness?
That's a great question. I think your question points to some misunderstandings about alcohol. So first of all alcoholic beverages contain ethanol, which is a group 1 carcinogen. In other words, it's in the same category as smoking tobacco cigarettes, which is well known to cause cancer. And so this is one misunderstanding I think that your question points to. And the other misunderstanding is that only hard liquor causes cancer, but that's not true. As I said, all alcoholic beverages contain ethanol, and ethanol is a group 1 carcinogen, which increases your risk of cancer. So yes, even wine and beer, these are drinks that contain less alcohol per volume, they can increase your risk of cancer.
But doctor, it's widely believed that a glass of wine, red wine especially, can reduce a person's risk of heart disease and even diabetes, I've heard. Are we still mistaken?
Yes, unfortunately, there was an older study that did seem to suggest a cardioprotective effect of alcohol, but a more recent analysis of the data that was conducted by a group of scientists from Canada, the US, and also Australia showed that even small amounts of drinking can increase the risk of dying of heart disease. And what they found was, in the previous study, there was something called a healthy survivor bias. In other words, the older people who were included in the study were more likely to be healthy, but they didn't correct for this bias. And so that's why it seemed to suggest that there was a cardioprotective effect. And this was found to be not true. And also in terms of diabetes, it's a little bit more complicated, but it is known that excess alcohol intake can increase your risk of developing type 2 diabetes.
So far you've crossed out beer, red wine, I'm sure white wine as well, but there's a wide range of alcohol. What about makgeolli, known as Korean raw rice wine? It's made of rice and has a low alcohol content compared to wine and soju. Is it still bad?
Right. So you're asking a great question, and I'm sure a lot of people are asking the same question in their minds. But as I mentioned, even drinks with low alcohol content, such as wine, makgeolli, they all contain alcohol, which is ethanol. Ethanol is a known carcinogen. Also, when alcohol is ingested, it's broken down into a substance called acetaldehyde, and this is a substance which is known to damage the DNA of our cells, which is toxic to our body. So yes, unfortunately, even makgeolli can increase your risk of cancer. And also, if you consider the serving size of makgeolli, it's actually served traditionally in a bowl, not a cup. And
Right.
so when you drink one serving of makgeolli, it actually ends up being the same amount of volume of alcohol as one shot of soju.
Right. Then, before we let you go, what advice do you have in terms of managing alcohol consumption, especially as at times drinking is inevitable?
Right, and I think you're getting to the heart of the question and the problem of drinking in Korea, which is the pervasive drinking culture and the attitude that drinking is inevitable in some social situations, and drinking should never be inevitable. And so we need the leadership of all organizations across all stratospheres of society in South Korea to encourage a more healthy alternative to drinking for relieving stress, for team building, and for having fun. There's so many other ways, healthier alternatives that we can achieve these goals. But if you are going to drink, please do not drink on an empty stomach and limit the amount of alcohol that you're going to take. For women, it should be no more than 1 glass. For men, also no more than 2 glasses of an alcoholic beverage. But abstaining from alcohol is the best option. And if you can partner with some friends, coworkers, or fellow students to engage in this healthier lifestyle, that might be a better alternative, and there's strength in numbers.
Right. Everything in moderation.
Yes.
All right, Dr. Tan, thank you so much for your insight this morning.
Thank you.